If you thought that the news about Nathan Wade and Fonnie Willis couldn't get any more interesting, funny, weird, or all of the above, news broke on Friday and court filings happened over the weekend that are taking this case to a whole other level. What am I talking about? Hold on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. I need to take you back in time to Thursday, February 15th, when Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade took the stand in the evidentiary hearing on the question of whether he and Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fonnie Willis should be removed from the case against Donald Trump and the other individuals in the RICO prosecution that had been brought by Fonnie Willis's office. I want you to listen to this clip. It's about 45 seconds, and it has to do with the question of how many times Nathan Wade visited Fonnie Willis at the condo she was staying at. Folks, do me a favor and take a listen to this.
I received.
You would go to the condo and talk about a document that you received?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Any other reasons?
None come to mind.
None come to mind.
No, sir.
And would you say that was frequent? When I say frequent, do you think prior to November 1st of 2021, you were at the condo more than 10 times?
No, sir.
So it'd be less than 10 times?
Yes, sir.
So if phone records were to reflect that you were making phone calls from the same location as the condo before November 1st of 2021, and it was on multiple occasions, the phone records would be wrong?
If phone records reflected that, yes, sir.
They'd be wrong.
They'd be wrong.
Okay. Where did you live during that time?
Okay, now I want you to listen to what he was just asked and what he answered. So prior to November 1st, 2021, how many times did you visit the condo? Oh, maybe less than 10. And if phone records indicated that you were there more than that, they'd be wrong. Oh, if they were phone records, yeah, they'd absolutely be wrong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it apparently somebody's about to prove and be wrong, but I don't know if it's the phone records. I take you at this point to an article from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, a newspaper that is by no means friendly to Republicans or conservatives or anybody else. Take a look at this headline that dropped on Friday. Trump's lawyers. Cell phone data raises questions about the start of the Willis-Wade relationship. DA disputes the findings, says they should be excluded. Article written by Bill Rankin, David Wickert, and Tamara Holloman. We read the following. Nathan Wade appeared to make at least 35 visits to the Hapeville neighborhood where Fonnie Willis was living before the district attorney hired him to lead Fulton County elections interference prosecution, according to cell phone data included in a court submission filed on Friday. The filing by attorneys for Donald Trump raised fresh questions about the relationship between the two prosecutors, which the former president and other defendants argued has tainted the case against them and should result in Willis and her office being disqualified. Late Friday, Willis disputed the defendant's evidence in court, seeking to have it excluded, said the submission was filed in violation of court rules and, quote, did not prove anything relevant. The records do nothing more than demonstrate that Special Prosecutor Wade's telephone was located somewhere within the densely populated multi-mile radius where various residences, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, and other businesses are located, Willis's motions said. Trump's lawyers relied on data collected from Wade's cell phone and the, quote, pings made off of cell phone towers close to Willis's condo. However, some experts interviewed by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution questioned the accuracy of the findings. Others said the technology was generally accepted in court proceedings around the nation and considered trustworthy. If the findings are correct, they would contradict Wade's testimony last week that he had visited Willis at her condo in Hapeville no more than 10 times before he was hired in November of 2021. The data also indicates that in the months before Willis and Wade said their relationship became romantic in early 2022, Wade's phone twice arrived in the area late at night and left early the next morning. Both Wade and Willis testified last week that they did not spend the night together at the Hapeville condo. The timeline of the Willis-Wade relationship is important for two reasons. If they were a couple before she hired him, it raises the prospect that she may have violated at least the spirit of the anti-nepotism rules, though Fulton's policy specifically focuses on family members. More importantly, both Willis and Wade have testified under oath their relationship began in 2022. If defense attorneys can prove that they lied under oath, it would constitute perjury. The Trump court filings included an affidavit from Charles Middlestat, a longtime investigator for defense attorneys. He said he obtained the cell phone data from AT&T through a subpoena. Middlestat said he used the online tool CellHawk to determine where Wade's phone was in 2021. Quote, CellHawk is considered by law enforcement to be the gold standard in cell phone record analytics, Middlestat said, noting it has been used by law enforcement throughout the U.S. and Georgia. The affidavit says that Willis and Wade called each other more than 2,000 times during the first 11 months of 2021 and exchanged nearly 10,000 text messages. Middlestat said he focused on instances where Wade's cell phone connected to a tower near Willis's Hapeville address for extended periods to make sure he was stationary and not transit. He said he did the same thing to determine when Wade was at his home in East Cobb County, Georgia. On one occasion, on September 11, 2021, Wade's phone left a third location in a Duralville area and arrived in the vicinity of Willis's Hapeville address at 10:45. The phone remained there until 3:28 a.m. and could later be seen arriving in East Cobb at 4:05, shortly before Wade sent a text to Willis, the affidavit said. Similarly, Wade's phone left at the East Cobb County, Georgia area at night on November 29, 2021. After receiving an 11:32 call from Willis, the affidavit said it arrived at Hapeville at 12:43 and remained there until 4:55 a.m. The affidavit added, Middlestat is available to testify at the court's convenience, said the filing by Trump attorneys Steve Sado and Jennifer Little. Okay, let's get into this. Sorry for taking so much time to read that article, but it establishes a lot and it needs to be put out there for consumption. Remember what Willis and Wade said, but more particularly Nathan Wade. I had not visited the Hapeville condo where Fonnie Willis was staying, maybe not more than 10 times prior to November 1st of 2021. And he was asked specifically, so if phone records demonstrate that you were there more than 10 times, they'd be wrong. Is that correct? Oh, absolutely, they'd be wrong. Well, now it's altogether possible that Wade has walked into a perjury trap. Perhaps the same thing could be said for Fonnie Willis. Now, people are asking the question, and I can almost hear it right now from the defenders of Drama Mama and Loverboy, that people are getting salacious. They're getting into people's personal lives. Oh, no. Wait a minute. This is not about the fact these two were having a relationship. This is about the fact, a number of questions. Number one, when did this relationship start? Number two, why did you keep it from the office? Number three, are you in any way engaged in conflict of interest? And it also goes to the question of credibility. This information, if it is proven to be true, could very well open both of these people up to be potentially disbarred if someone wanted to push it far and hard enough. But at a minimum, it's leading to the strong possibility that these two could be bounced off the prosecution of former President Donald Trump and the other individuals who were brought up on these RICO charges in Fulton County, Georgia. So let's look at what we're talking about here. Now, again, I'm no private investigator. I'm not a member of law enforcement. I'm just a guy who reads the news and gives my opinion. But if this investigator can track Wade's movements and can show that he was in the vicinity of the condo about 35 times, that's bad enough. But based on the subpoena, they've got at least 2,000 phone calls and 10,000 text messengers. So this whole argument about, oh, well, no, we didn't, we didn't begin a formal relationship until, sometime in 2022. And I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. So we'll see what the judge wants to do with this evidence. But if you thought that was bad enough, it gets even worse. I want to take you back now to the 16th of February when Nathan Wade's old law partner, Terrence Bradley, took the stand. He was asked questions related to the relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Well, he kept saying that because he was Nathan Wade's attorney handling the divorce, he couldn't talk about it under lawyer-client privilege. Well, it then came out the reason why he left Nathan Wade's law firm, and I take you to an article from the New York Post. Headline: Fani Willis case reveals ex-law partner of Trump prosecutor Nathan Wade was accused of sexual assault. Article written by Dana Kennedy, we read the following. Nathan Wade's former law partner, who repped the now embattled Georgia attorney during his divorce and is now a key witness for Fulton County's district attorney Fani Willis as she battles misconduct allegations, admitted he previously left a firm due to sexual assault allegations. The revelation came late Friday during the questioning of attorney Terrence Bradley by state attorney Anna Cross. Bradley denied the assault allegation, but conceded it was the main reason he left the law firm where he previously worked with Wade. He also indicated indirectly that he paid the staffer who made the allegations. The revelation came as a bombshell during the hearing. Bradley had earlier claimed he left the firm mainly because he served as Wade's divorce attorney, which would mean his communications with Wade are protected by attorney-client privilege. But Judge Scott McAfee said Bradley's admission brings into doubt his refusal to answer about what and when he knew about Wade and Fani Willis's romantic relationship. Quote, Mr. Bradley previously testified that the reason he left the firm was totally and completely covered by privilege. When asked by the state, he went into a factual scenario that, to my mind, I don't see how it relates to privilege at all. So now I'm left wondering if Mr. Bradley has been properly interpreting privilege this entire time. McAfee has scheduled a behind closed-door hearing with Bradley to determine matters of privilege in the testimony. During a 2-day hearing last week, Willis and her ex-lover were scrutinized over the timeline and nature of their relationship in the high-stakes hearing that will decide whether she is fit to continue her prosecution of election fraud charges against former President Trump and others. Okay, now that's the setup. And if you thought that article from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution was bad, well, folks, the judge has ruled on the question of whether Terrence Bradley is going to have to further testify and whether it's covered by privilege. Ladies and gentlemen, take a listen to this.
Developments this morning in the push to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade from the 2020 election interference case. 11 Alive has confirmed the judge has denied a motion from Wade to block additional testimony from his former attorney, Terrence Bradley. Defense attorneys believe Bradley can prove Willis and Wade's romantic relationship began earlier than they testified. Bradley is now set to meet with the judge on Monday.
Okay, folks, it's getting worse and worse and worse for Drama Mama and Lover Boy. So now the supposed privilege claim that Terrence Bradley was laying down, the judges ruled, this doesn't apply. You're going to be asked to give further testimony come Monday. Get ready. Now, as if all this weren't bad enough, a story broke at Breitbart, which is throwing further fuel on the fire. I take you to the following article. Check this out. Exclusive. Nathan Wade led Fani Willis' 2020 transition into office. Article written by Wendell Husebo. We read the following. Nathan Wade, quote, made the decisions to hire or fire employees in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office following Fulton County prosecutors Fani Willis's election victory in November 2020, multiple sources familiar with the Wade and Willis relationship exclusively told Breitbart News. The revelation of Wade's previously unreported position as the former personnel decision maker for the district attorney office raises ethical and conflict of interest concerns. It also raises about whether Wade and Willis had been forthright about the timeline for their affair. Now, I want to take you to some of the quotes inside of this from some of the sources that Wendell Hughesbow spoke with. Take a look at this. Quote, Willis said everyone in the office was essentially all terminated and that essentially we had to reapply for our jobs and must submit with an application and schedule at a time to appear for an interview, a source said. We had to reapply and come back in so they could interview everyone from lawyers to paralegals to assistants to investigators. In that room, in my interview, there were a lot of people other than Fonnie Willis and that her transition team. I definitely know Nathan Wade was in the room because he was taking the lead role, the source said, and I was a little confused because I'd never seen him before. Another witness said the following. I had about maybe 10 people in the interview. Nathan was moving around and taking charge in the room. Wade hired the entire office of 250 employees. I was just telling him my employment background, and they just sit there and looked at me and they said, well, you'll get an email about our decision. That's what Wade said. And he looked at Willis. They looked at each other, and there was just something so weird going on. The sources did not initially know who Wade was during the transition process, but they told Breitbart News they questioned why Willis would outsource the transition process to unknown actors. Quote, why was he a part of the hiring process and making the decisions as to who gets hired and fired when he wasn't even an employee or authorized to be in the room? A source questioned. Now, I want to go to the last paragraph of this article, and you'll understand why I'm bringing this together. Wade's story appears shaky. Former Fulton County District Attorney employee and friend of Willis since college, Robin Gettr, testified that Willis was definitely in a relationship with Wade since 2019. In addition, cell phone data obtained from AT&T through subpoena contradicts Wade's testimony. Folks, I understand the argument that some would make that it's not necessarily surprising that Nathan Wade would be helping out a friend, a legal colleague, who had just won election to office as far as her transition is concerned. But I bring up this article to make a valid point. If Robin Gettr is right, and they were already in a relationship as far back as 2019, then it starts to explain why Nathan Wade is in the room helping to make the personnel decisions. Perhaps this was more than professional. Perhaps this was more than helping out someone whose campaign you support. And what about the phone records? Now, granted, do they absolutely demonstrate beyond shadow of a doubt that he was at Willis's condo 35 times? No, but if the cell phone technology is to be believed, he was leaving his house in Cobb County, Georgia, taking about a half an hour and 45 minutes to drive into the vicinity of Fonnie Willis's condo, staying there a significant amount of time in this one location, wherever it may be, and is leaving very early in the morning. Folks, there's a difference between what should happen and what I think will happen. What I think should happen, these two should be removed from the case. There's more than enough here to establish at least the appearance of conflict. And I will be very surprised if anything other than removing them from the case comes down from Judge McAfee. But then again, there's what I think should happen and what is going to happen. And those two sometimes do not meet. But all of this news is definitely adding to the pile-on of problems that Drama Mama and Loverboy have. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. Number two, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new material is coming out, be it a video or a live stream. Number three, please leave a comment below. Number four, share the video around. And finally, give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative, and I will see you next time.